Sadly, there is more that I feel that I need to say about the uvalde situation, as I feel like the only reason why I'm even weighing in here at this point is to sabotage the normal parameters of debate and the typical narrative when it comes to the issues after a tragedy. Okay, I've been privately, and I don't want to make everything all about me because it isn't, obviously. That didn't need to be told to me, though, by the people who weighed in, But the truth of the matter is that, when something goes wrong in this country, and it doesn't matter if it's the Pulse shooting, if it's, something that happens to you in particular, whether it was the death of my friend Kara, who I talk about in my writing so frequently, you know, in every single one of these tragedies that we've been looking back on and rewinding the clock on to reflect on, it seems really obvious to me that there were multiple contributing factors that came together in a rather tragic manner. That if you had solved one of them in isolation, it may have prevented the crisis. But what would have done far more good is to solve all of the contributing factors to what had ultimately transpired. And so I've presided over, when it comes to the gun control debate, multiple different theories about, what, ultimately is the problem. And, so far, for me, what I'm able to figure out is that I feel like we don't have a good or functional gun culture in the United States. We have a very bad one compared to somewhere like Denmark. Like, we just do a bad job at our, gun culture in the United States. The second issue is that access to mental health services in this country is just completely appalling. And then on top of all that, it's way too easy to get your hands on an AR-15, and weapons are just innovating and they're getting more and more deadly. I mean, right now, due to the fact that the Pentagon and all of the money flows towards the military, effectively what that means is that at any given moment, all of the most brilliant minds in the world, and this is a really dark and depressing thought, are, doing research into more effective ways to kill people. And that means that, our weapons are improving all the bloody time. And, I guess if you feel that the only way to secure the United States from its enemies and the people that would engage in terrorism against us if they could is to arm up and make sure that nobody else, we might be able to create peace through being the most armed. That theory might hold. It seems to be what the military believes, but at the end of the day, I mean, the weapons are getting better and better and better, and that means that pretty soon, since people are just buying AR-15s as a status symbol, they're going to want the new, better, weapon, the civilian version of it, and because they want to be like wannabe Marines basically, and they're running around like all of this, and so it seems to me that we only do this whole thing, like, everybody is invested in it in a way that something, I guess you could say, is that when you have something that is on the line in the debate, that you're trying to prevent from transpiring, or some outcome that you want to shut down and make sure that doesn't happen, then you start trying to go towards conspiracies and start pinning this on crisis actors and making it look like something didn't ultimately happen. And the truth of the matter is that something did, down in Texas, and it wasn't crisis actors, and the conspirators are nuts. But the truth is, just at a much more fundamental level, there are these people who have a vested interest, or like an ideological interest, in ensuring that nothing happens to my guns in this whole thing. And those people, in this, should not be listened to fundamentally, because they have skin in the game, you know, which clouds their perspective and their persona about all of this. And, that means that, there's a conflict of interest in, with those people, and they're compromised fundamentally, so they shouldn't be, in this whole thing. And what drives me up the wall, and like it's a form of maddening. It makes me not like maddening as in angry, but maddening as in like crazy. It drives me crazy about all of this. It's just, you know, what we've been doing has been a game of round robin. It's like it's video games. It's violent video games. You know, it's mental health services. It's easy access to firearms. And we keep doing this. It's just one great big circle. And it seems to me that the only real solution to the debate itself, which does need a solution and a resolution, basically, is to fucking throw the singular education into the singular cause fallacy into it in order to, to finally have the complicated discussion that America really needs to have about this issue, because we don't need one that treats, the gun crisis, and the crisis of mass shootings as though, there is one contributing factor. Like it can all be explained by one contributing factor. I mean, obviously, multiple contributing factors has been coming together in a horrifying fusion that is causing these mass shootings to keep occurring. To have turned this from into a regular feature of American life. I mean, it doesn't make sense fundamentally to oversimplify it to say that it's mental health, or it's easy access to the AR-15. It's every one of those fucking things all rolled into one. And that's what drives me up the wall about all of it. This is obvious. Like these conservatives, they talk about common sense, but common sense would be to realize that when it comes to a tragedy, usually multiple things have to go wrong in order to create a tragedy. It's usually a perfect fucking storm that transpires in a horrifying way when something goes wrong. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of watching the fucking circling around, and I want fundamentally for the nonsense to stop. I want to stop simplifying I want us to stop simplifying the cause of tragedy, because it's obvious to me that tragedy has complex causation.